Hello everybody, welcome to Awaken Positive Power, where beautiful Darcy Marta, hello, hello, and myself, Jemima Godsall, bring to you conversations regarding mental health issues, depression, and suicide prevention through awareness. They are heavy topics, guys, so just before we do get started, I'd like to say there is a disclaimer down below, but also, more importantly, a 1-800 phone number that you can call that is available 24/7 for you or for anybody else who needs it. You are never alone. Never. And that's what Darcy and I are trying to do here, is just normalize the conversation around heavy emotions. Big, small, doesn't matter. Just try to, we realize once we speak, a lot of the time, 50% of that tension is dissipated. And so it's so vital to talk. So here we are again. It's pretty much been my journey, guys, as those of you who are following know, and Darcy's been this amazing help and friend and guide and mentor to get me through where I'm going. I'm just using myself as an example, guys. I'm not trying to make it all about me. It's just that trying to make sure that there maybe is something that you relate to in terms of, oh God, I know I feel like that, and how you can survive. Right. So this week, as you might know, firstly, sorry, just before I do start, there are some sound issues on my end, so I do apologize if it sounds muffled to you. Long story behind it, but if that is, just listen to Darcy and block me out, put me on. You can. Pressure's on.
You're losing half the fun. It's like
anyway, this week has been amazing. I was just saying to Darcy, I've landed in my dream. My manifestation has come true, and it's here, and I'm amazed, and it's wonderful. But there was a little hiccup halfway through. I came here earlier than expected. And my cat was coming on the weekend with my man just to visit while he went back to retire at the end of this week. But my car wasn't working, so he and my cat couldn't come. Now, why am I talking about my cat? Because I have never been over my whole trauma. He's 14, and I've had a long life with him, with my ex-husband and my drug issue and my suicide attempt. They actually saved my life. And I thought he was coming on the weekend, and I'm isolated in the middle of the desert, which is wonderful. I chose it. But about 3 days ago, I lost it. I'm losing it. Like, I need to have some sort of contact with someone, something. And my cat always reminds me how far I've come in terms of my final suicide attempt, and how that's not my path. And also they give you a response, and they talk, and they help in my own way. Those who have pet therapy animals out there, such as cats and dogs, understand. Like, I get it now. I will never complain to a dog coming into a store with someone who has, if they're going to pee, I don't care. That person, you never know what they're going through. So it's been a really strange crisis point for me when I'm feeling like a little selfish about it, because I should be at my happiest. And it's been challenging.
Remember to stop shitting on yourself. No shoulds. Yeah, there's no.
That's part of the process, though. It's like I'm so fucked up, pardon my language, YouTube, with myself. I'm so angry, and that's the whole thing that came up. I just started nitpicking all the bad things about me, all the negatives. And then what I do, I go and ring my lover and spew it out on him. It sounds like I'm angry at him, which I'm not, but it's your transferred energy. And then I'm angry at myself because I know he's upset, and then he's concerned, and he's 5 hours away and can't come to see me and challenged, and I'm aware of all of it, and how do I make up for that? And it's like, and in the meantime, I'm trying. I said last night, I can't hear a text from you saying this that I did, because I know I hurt you, and I'm sorry, but I can't help you right now. I can't even help myself, and I've created this big bubble of hoo-ha when all I wanted was my cat. I just want my cat. Yeah, it's really powerful. Like, it's really, really. I know I'm meant to go through this because obviously I love being alone, but this alone time where I feel lonely for the first time for a long time shows me the power of pets, but also how much work I have to do as an individual within, because I feel like I reached out to Darcy last night, texting her, going, I'm not doing so well, let's talk about this tomorrow. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just feeling.
What the thing is, Jemima, in some Native American traditions, there's this time where you go on a spiritual quest, you know, a quest, and you have to go by yourself on this spiritual quest. And it takes a lot of preparation, a lot of cleansing, a lot of work. And you go on this quest, and you go and you sit in a designated area, like a mountaintop area or a forest area that's been blessed and created for your quest. And you literally, you sit there for, I don't know, 2-3 days and nights. You stay there, you sleep there. I think you don't eat. You just get water, and then the animals that come to you talk to you, and the revelations. You have your demons, you face your demons, right? And if you think about it, right? So that's a tradition in the Native American background. And
It's a bit like walkabout in Australia with the Aboriginal.
Like the walkabout in Australia, very similar to that, where you're off on your own. And
solo trip.
Right. And so there's a number of different societies that have those kinds of quest ritual, where you go through this ritual of alone time. And that's in some, and even in some Native American, I think, or South American rituals, where you go into an area like a cave. You go down into a cave, and you literally, like you're going into a burial place, and you spend 2 or 3 days in the dark that way, down inside the cave, and then you get transformed. And it leads into types of shamanism and all different things. So I don't have any details on any of that, but I know that there are rituals like that. And then if you think of, and we were talking about Jesus, right?
You laugh.
Yeah, I know. We were talking about Jesus and how Jesus is so important, but it's always hard to talk about Jesus because people's ears kind of go weird. Either they shut down, or they prick up, or they do weird things. In any case, Jesus had that 40 days and 40 nights in the desert by himself, right? When all those revelations came to him and his power came to him.
True.
So I really feel that you, by yourself, without your cat, which is your animal therapy, without your lover, without anybody, you're by yourself. And this is your it's your quest, right? It's your journey to the self. And in order to go through those kinds of ceremonies, the ego has to break down, the ugliness has to surface and leave you. Your consciousness needs to be the thing that sees every part of your personality, just like doing your ayahuasca, but without the ayahuasca, without the drug.
Can I ask?
Yeah.
Like, I have reacted to all I've stepped on my train a lot the last few days. I've reacted, and I've been the worst part of myself. I'm angry. I've let Chris know I'm angry, not at him at all, just about a certain situation. All of the things that I feel like I can be aware of, I've reacted to. And isn't that not meant to happen? And I just meant to observe and move through. Like, I feel like every freaking thing I've done is a waste of time. I'm like,
not at all. The difference here is that you're aware of the fact that you're reacting. Right? And that's a really big change. It's not like you're just reacting and lashing out and not aware of your behavior. You're aware of your behavior. So right there, that's a totally different ball of wax. That shows that you've come a long way. It's a really wonderful perspective. I know I'm reacting this way. I know this is hard. And then, you know what, when we face our demons, right? Each person has their own demons that they have to face. And they're either going to acknowledge those demons and work with them and move through the lessons that they show us. So whether that's your ugly side, that self-hatred, I mean, turn that part of you. I think we talked about that one a long time ago. What was it, Blob or something?
Oh yeah,
Blob's coming in the room. Was it Blob?
Yep.
So when not right now,
Don't laugh at my blob. Poor blob. Yeah, it's true. I forgot. Blob
yeah,
did come on.
there you go. So Blob's coming in the room.
Oh, out. I freaking. But how? See, even that. How come in the moment you forget? Like, how come I'm not present enough to go? Here comes blob. Stop. Breathe. Walk away. Like I'm not.
You got to write it down, and it takes a lot of practice, and you're just beginning. So you got to write it down, put it there. Takes a lot of practice. That's what practice is for, because we can't expect ourselves to all of a sudden get it. Oh, I get it. So now I'm an expert. We got to practice at it. You got to really start to understand. Okay, here comes blob again.
That sounds funny.
Here comes blob. I got to deal with blob. But
I know I've got a big ass, but really.
But blob is, using humor is a great way to deal with that. Get rid of the word should. You should not be anywhere other than where you are. And so blob is one of your inner demons, right? This big, angry, mean, nasty, fearful creature. And it's
Codependent, everything.
Codependent, all that ugly stuff. And it's now you recognize it. You recognize that behavior. So, wow, you're like 10 steps ahead. That's cool. That means, okay, you recognize that was not correct. I mean, it's much harder where would we be if you didn't even recognize that? And if you were still finger pointing?
I'd still be on drugs. Yeah.
There you go. Absolutely.
Or dead. Yeah.
Or dead. So now you're going, okay, so here I let my blob overtake me. Now, the reason why it's hard is because we have a point in our brain, a gland called the amygdala, right? Mm-hmm. And that controls our making choices. How we make choices comes through the amygdala. So when we get emotional, all the chemicals and hormones that our body releases when we get emotional hijacks the amygdala, and it's hard for us to make decisions. Mm-hmm. Thusly, you hear the fight, flight, or freeze mode that we get into. Mm-hmm. So if you're out there and you are, gosh, I'm tired because I came from work. So you're out there by yourself and your inner demons come right in front of you, and it inspires all those old fears, old hurts, old worries, old ideas. The emotions start to rise, and it sends you into, it sounds like fight mode, and you want to have something to fight, but there's nothing to fight but yourself. Mm-hmm. So then you go into deeper emotions, and that's when we get into the scared, the sad, and then we lash out at the people that we love because it's easier.
And how do you redeem yourself if I'm conscious of it, and afterwards, like immediately, I'm like, in the moment, but I'm on that train. And then as soon as I get off, I go, oh God. It's the redemption. I feel like, how do I apologize again? How many times do I apologize for jumping on the train when that person finally goes, enough? I don't want to be an abuser. Right. I don't want to be bringing that person, tearing that person down, let alone myself. It's just,
you're going to have to talk about it with your lover and say, okay, this is my challenge right now, is to deal with this part of me that we've called blob. Blob is this big evil beast.
He knows blob. Like he yeah, he knows blob.
So somehow he's going to have to take responsibility and say, I'm not going to talk to you right now because you're too much into your blob thing. I'm taking a break. I'm walking away. I'll talk to you when you get it under control. So he needs to have the strength and space to be able to do that. Mm-hmm. I have a family member that I love, who has a smaller blob than yours, but definitely a blob there. And sometimes that person can be so mean and nasty, and I'll be talking to them and I'm like, oh, how are you feeling right now? Terrible. They say terrible, bad, awful. And then they get really mean to me. And then I say, I'm going to hang up now. And you deal with what you want to deal with. And when you're ready, you can call me later. So go ahead and put your thoughts together, do what you need to do for yourself. And then when you want to talk, you can call me, but I'm not going to listen to you talk to me from that.
How did they receive that?
Oh, yeah, great. So there's usually about an hour gap. And then I get a phone call, and the person is very, upset. They're very sad, very upset. They were acting so mean, etc. And then we talk about, well, what's really going on. Taking it out on me is easy. So now let's face what's not easy. Right. Yeah, okay. I'm an easy target for that person. So I choose not to be the target. Right. And the reason I'm an easy target is because that person trusts me so much.
Yes. Cool. They love you. They love you.
Yeah,
and so,
yeah. And so who's going to keep loving you after you act like a jerk? It's that person. So I have learned how to take care of myself and say, I'm not going to deal with this energy right now. Nothing's getting accomplished. And all I'm doing is now getting mad because my feelings are being hurt. So I'm bowing out of this conversation. Call me when you get yourself, back to yourself, when you come back to yourself, right? And so the other person then has to take responsibility for their feelings. So if your lover could say to you, what? I'm not going to deal with you right now. I understand. It's hard because we talk about suicide prevention, right? We talk about depression. It's hard because when I say that to this family member, I am acutely aware that they have suicidal thoughts. And I have to show them that I have belief in their ability to take care of themselves and that they will call me back. I don't want to infantilize that person and say, are you okay? I got to rush over and take care of you. I don't want you to be doing self-harm. Because I know if they get to a place of self-harm, they know how to reach out. But it's very important for me to say, I trust that even though this is hard on you right now, you're going to get through this. And I think that really empowers them.
Well, like last night, I did reach out to Darcy, guys, and I just said, can we talk about this how when things are good and suicidal thoughts still pop up, and I'm finding it really hard. And Darcy gave me a really safe space to feel safe to do that, but also gave me a few pointers, like of what she would do, and then followed up with beautiful photos about normalizing life, like photos of some family members and beautiful things and her dogs, which made me smile. And just this wonderful thing sort of removed me from the moment. It was calm, it was generous, it was a space where I felt I was responsible. I didn't put anything on her, but also she was able to step back and say, not right now, or not. It doesn't matter what happened, but it was just really fine, a really human way. I don't know what word I'm looking for. A really good way to set up how to deal with someone where the word suicide is scary, guys. In my lover's vocabulary, it doesn't exist, so it freaks him out. In mine, it's a common topic because I had to deal with it,
Right.
But you dealt with it so wonderfully, and I thought how it really sort of made me step out and have a little giggle with the dogs. And even though I was still crying and stuff, I did have a moment of reality, of beautiful reality, of precious reality, and that your simple words, I know I was connected with you. I know that you were supporting me. You gave me that encouragement where you knew if it was really bad, I felt that you knew I could get out of it myself, or knew if I needed to reach out. And that was really a lifesaver, I have to say. And it was just, thank you.
Oh yeah, sure. I have a lot of faith in you. I mean, I know it's really, really hard. I think that this is, part of your quest, before you move to the next phase of the partnership. This is you really coming to terms with, your demon, your private demon, and really noticing it. And
I'm so afraid it's going to come up and kill my relationship. I'm so scared.
Well, it's going to come up, but it doesn't have to kill your relationship. And you've got to get some help with this, that your partner needs to take full responsibility to say, no, I'm not going to deal with you right now. And that you've got to accept that as not being bad. So the idea is that if you're really in a place emotionally and you are lashing out at your partner, it's totally acceptable for him to say, I am not going to talk to you like right now. I think you need your own space. Work it out, and then know that I'll be here later when you can talk. And
Yeah.
let that person walk away if they
Yeah.
need to. You know, I used to be this person that I did, I used to call it steamrolling arguing. This be a steamroller where I would just go bam, 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 bam on the subject. And if people said, you know, I can't even, I would make them stay with me until we figured it out, because I was willing to stay until they figured it out. I'm here. I'm going to do it. We have to figure this out. We have to figure it out right.
Don't leave. Don't leave. You're not leaving until we work this out. That type thing. Yeah, I was the
do
same.
it now,
Yeah.
because we have to do it now. And it wasn't until years later that it was putting such a demand that people could not handle that. They shouldn't be forced to handle that. And it's not the way everybody operates. I have a friend that the littlest bit of conflict and she just goes blank and has to leave. And I'm like, but we got to talk about this problem. I have to go. She goes. So I realized that she's got to go process her responsibility and then be able to present herself. She cannot have those big emotional conversations. I have since learned not to be such a steamroller. Yeah. Not to, you know, just bulldoze my way through every, you know, difficulty. It's difficult. Let's go through it. Bulldoze. It's the bulldoze technique. Okay.
Yeah.
So you need to let him know that you are willing to respect him when he says, cannot talk to you this way. I want you to go and do your meditation and take care of yourself. And I'm here for you when you can come back and talk to me. And that way, your relationship will survive. Absolutely. Because he won't be trying to fix you and you won't be trying to insist that he deals with things your way and all this kind of garbage that we do to each other in relationships.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, I take responsibility for my part in the damaged marriage I had, and I see some traits that are horrific behavior, you know, in response to sometimes, but also initiated sometimes. And I never want to go back, and I find myself doing this last couple of days. I found myself very raw and very young in my recovery, and it's quite challenging to keep faith that I have progressed and that I will not mess this up, and I am here for a reason. You know, it's been very, very, very difficult, surprisingly. You know, I love to be alone. I never realized how important my cats were. Like, seriously, I'm overwhelmed to see how much they have been a comfort for me, you know.
Well, you know, human beings are social creatures. We are not meant to exist in isolation. That's why
apparently.
Right? That's why things like a quest where you go inside at, you know, in a cave and spend it in the dark and then come out reborn, or, you know, or spend, you know, 3 days and nights on a mountaintop by yourself. Those things, they change you, you know, because you are facing your inner demons.
So I've been on a spiritual quest in the desert, pretty much.
Well, the interesting thing,
unconsciously.
Yes and no, because you've been talking about this journey you're on and all this stuff that you're doing, and then you ended up at this property by yourself, ahead of schedule, right? And it's right before a big, huge freaking eclipse.
I know. In Scorpio,
it's a very emotional thing,
isn't it?
Yeah, very emotional. And so you've put yourself in the space of a quest, and it seems to be a natural progression through this journey that you're on. It's just now that you're aware of that, oh yes, this is part of my testing, this is part of my quest. You know, you have a choice to just say, throw your hands up and say, I can't do it. Or you can throw your hands up and say, I witness it. I'm moving through it. So it depends on how you want to look at this.
Oh, I'm witnessing it. I'm moving through it. I remember, thanks to my cat tattoo, that's been my savior, because it's been like I remind myself of how, with my final suicide attempt, like the mission I've been gifted with, and I lost it for the last few days of my purpose and what I'm here for, and like why I survived my final suicide attempt. And that's scary. But now I cobweb's gone. I am moving forward. But it's just been a real sort of shock to the system to see how much work and how much practice and how much still I have to learn, and about myself. Let alone other people. How wounded I still am, and the way I react to that wounding is still so there.
Yeah, it's so easy. There's things that just trigger, that just can trigger a wound to open back up again, easy. And that's part of the quest, though, right? That's part of your journey that you're on. And sometimes when you open up that wound accidentally and you're sitting there trying to deal with it, it puts you also in an emotional trance that you have to break. So this is why animals are great, because they break our trance. So if we're sitting at home, if we're sitting at home in a boo-hoo moment or a crazed moment, whatever we're feeling, the animal will come in and go, pop you out of it. They're hungry. They need to go pee. They need some love. They're like, come on. The world is.
Or they ignore you, which makes you just go, what? Which cats do. Go, oh, shut up, mum. It's like, okay, all right, okay. Yeah. That's so true. It's so true.
It breaks the trance. It breaks the trance.
Oh.
So that those emotions can let go of the amygdala, and then you can start making your choices again and coming forward again. So
I feel after our conversation, even though it's only been 25 minutes, I feel so much stronger. Thank you for allowing a safe space for me to be authentic with you, and also I hope it helps anybody out there. It's scary, but I really appreciate, and your feedback is always so educational, let alone inspirational. It gets, there are things there that I go, oh yeah. So I thank you, and it makes me stronger. So I thank you so much, especially for this moment.
You're a very brave person. There's not a lot of people who can do what you are doing by themselves. I wonder if I have my book a second. Hang on.
Yeah. Let's read us something. Because these guys don't need to see me cry.
Dropped a whole pile of books over there.
Oh, no.
So, I mean, I can pull a card if you want to, or
I think go with what your intuition is calling you to do, and we'll close with this.
Okay. So
I'll just look at myself in the camera and make myself beautiful. Thank you, guys. Yeah.
Teach me how to look beautiful, because
yeah.
I'm older now. I have to learn to love my beauty. Okay.
You are beautiful, Das. Gosh.
Okay, so here we have something called a vision quest. Okay. The vision quest is one of the oldest tools used by tribal people to seek a direction in life. And under the guidance of a medicine person, the seeker is sent to a remote location to fast and pray for 3 to 4 days. The result of this activity is often called going on the hill. And it's for a fuller understanding of your place or your pathway in the world. So, Jemima, you just kind of decided to do this by yourself rather than take a medicine person along with you. So that's why it's a little harder. Everything's harder in life when we decide to do it by ourselves.
I'm learning that.
Yeah.
Very slowly, I'm learning it.
Yeah. So Great Mystery gives the sacred medicine helpers permission to come in vision form to the person who is vision questing, the spirit of the animal, tree, stone, moon, stars, or ancestor who appears will be an ally, a guide during this vision quest, okay? and they will protect you on that sacred path or that earth walk, okay? Another aspect of the vision involves harnessing the energy presented to you in forms of your personal talents. If these talents are used properly, they may allow a new type of growth potential throughout your life. So I want to just point out a couple of your talents. One of your talents is your resiliency, that you are a very brave person, and that regardless of how desperate or deep or lonely or hard things get, you still have that part of you that is going forward, that is saying, okay, I'm going to try again. I'm going to try again. I'm just going to try it a little differently. That is an amazing talent.
Thank you. Bless you.
And your other talent is that you're really charming.
Yes.
You're charmed. Oh my gosh, you can charm anybody.
Make me blush.
You bring that resiliency and that charm together, and you have so much to offer the world. That's an amazing
Thank you.
thing.
Thank you, Darcy.
Yeah. So I'm not going to read the whole Vision Quest story because it's really big.
Mm-hmm. Just before you do find your passage, it was interesting because I am alone in the middle of a bowl of mountains. So that's kind of like my medicine. And then what happened was I've seen animals come. The other day I was so alone. I felt so naked and so angry and so, and I just want my pet. And then across, my neighbor across the road, a whole bunch of cows, beautiful black cows just came and just sat there. And I was like, oh, thank you, my beautiful, beautiful, humble, quiet, gentle cows.
Right? Yeah.
I was wondering, am I meant to be here? What's going on? And then there's two bald-headed eagles just over my camper, just flowing for about an hour. And I went out and I was like, oh my God, bawling my eyes out, going, this is a message, you know. And so those like with the spiritual quest, that is kind of like what you would go through anyway. You know, my medicine is the mountains surrounding me, and then the talking of the animals to me, and the perfect timing for it all. Anyway, so that's
amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so the goal is to reach the place of inner serenity so that the inner world is equal to the outer world. When the two worlds are one, we become, you know, we're living our dream, or we're dream living. So it's your journey right now is to break that trance, to break the blob trance. If we had pulled it as a card, it would, speaking of a time of new directions or strengthening of the present based on personal truth. Sometimes to find this truth, it's necessary to enter the silence and remove personal confusion. In other instances, it's necessary to actually go on a vision quest. This card tells you that the course of your life needs to be clarified through vision. It's now time to ask for assistance from your allies and your ancestors so that your choices will be reinforced with the wisdom they bring to you. Beautiful. Trusting your feelings, following them with action is a way to find truth. And to accomplish this, you have to release confusion and doubt and proceed by allowing your truth to emerge. Remember, in seeking, you are asking for answers, and so be willing to accept and recognize the truth when it comes to you. Recognition and acceptance always precede inner knowing. Oh, that's a great sentence. Recognition and acceptance always precede inner knowing.
That is.
So time to recognize blob, accept blob as your shadow self, right? And decide that blob is not in control of you. You are in control of you, right?
It's time.
It's time.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Darcy. Thank you, everyone. I hope this helps someone out there. Or if you know of someone who needs this sort of a conversation, please share. And also, if you have any things you want us to tap on, talk about, please don't be afraid to reach out.
Right.
And have a beautiful, beautiful full moon eclipse in Scorpio.
Wow.
And then, and you know what? It's actually the first time in, I think, I don't know, like a century or something, that the full moon the eclipse lasts for 86 minutes.
Oh, really?
Yes, 86 minutes. So we can all
And
have
I
a look at it.
believe it's in Scorpio.
Yeah, it's in Scorpio. Yeah, all about the deep, dark. I know, hello. All about looking at the inner, deeper, darker side of oneself. Thanks, Darth. Anyway, guys, on that note, peace out. We'll see you next week. Thank you, Darcy. You're amazing. Love you.
Amazing. Bye,
Bye.
everybody.